You make more money than 90% of this country, and you own almost nothing. I want you to picture a man, call him an engineer, because that is what he is. He spends his days at a desk solving problems most people can't. In an office high above a city you would recognize. And he clears $24,000 a month. A house with a room nobody uses. A long car in the driveway that turns heads on the street. The kind of life a magazine photographs. Now take his hands off the work. Just for a month. Let the desk go quiet. The money stops too. All of it. Inside 30 days, the whole life goes silent. Because every dollar he has ever made came out of his own two hands. In real time. On paper. He is wealthy. In fact, he owns exactly one thing. Himself. And he rents it out by the hour. Here is the part nobody says out loud. The reason you feel behind at a salary that was supposed to feel like winning isn't that you spend too much. It's that you own the wrong asset. You own the only asset that dies the day you stop showing up. I've spent years pulling apart how money actually accumulates. And I'm going to show you the one move that separates a high income from real wealth. Stay with me. By the end, you'll be able to run a single honest number on your own life and know whether you're building wealth or just renting yourself out. Before you decide this is one careless man, look at the numbers. Because he isn't rare. He is the pattern. By one large bank's read of its own account holders, close to 1 in 5 households earning over $150,000 a year spends almost everything it takes in. Step down to the broader six-figure crowd and it gets worse. More than 4 in 10 of them finish the month with nearly nothing left. Read that again? 6 figures. Nothing left. These aren't people who can't budget. A lot of them budget obsessively. They're surgeons and managers and engineers who can read a balance sheet better than I can. And they still arrive at the same place. Which tells you the problem was never the spending. The problem is the structure underneath the spending. Nobody ever taught them that a paycheck and an asset are two completely different animals. So you do what everyone tells you. You earn more. The raise. The title. The bigger offer. Because somewhere along the way you absorbed a quiet promise that if the paycheck gets big enough, wealth just happens on its own. It doesn't. I've watched people climb from $100,000 to $500,000 a year, carrying the exact same knot in their stomach the whole way up. The anxiety doesn't leave, it just puts on a nicer suit. Income, no matter how large, does not turn itself into wealth. Someone has to convert it, and nobody ever showed you how. Let me give the thing a name. Because once you can see it, you can't unsee it. You own a one-asset portfolio. Picture your whole financial life as a single page. A balance sheet. The way a company has one. On the asset side, the things you own that have value, there is really just one line. It isn't your house, which takes money from you every month. It isn't your car. It's you, your skill, your hours, your capacity to show up and produce. Economists have a clean term for it. Back in 1964, a researcher named Gary Becker gave it a name. Human capital. The idea was sharp enough to help earn him a Nobel Prize. Strip the academic paint off and it means something simple. Your earning power, your hours. Sold by the clock. And here is the line I need you to sit with. You don't own assets. You are the asset. And it's depreciating. A bigger salary doesn't fix this. A raise just makes the one asset temporarily more valuable. It does not hand you a second one. So for the next few minutes I'm going to do 3 things. I'll show you the 3 reasons this single asset is more dangerous than anything in your bank account. I'll give you a 10-second test to measure exactly how exposed you are. And then I'll show you the one move out. Reason 1. Your asset is undiversified. Every dollar is riding on one bet. You. Any advisor in the world will tell you the first rule of not going broke: don't put everything into a single stock. One company. One industry. One point of failure is how fortunes evaporate. You already know this. You'd never sink your whole net worth into one ticker. But that is exactly what you've done with your life. 100% of your income depends on one employer. In one role. In one industry. Valuing one person? That is not a diversified portfolio. That is the single most concentrated position a human being can hold. And you're holding it without noticing. Because it doesn't show up as a stock. It shows up as a job. Here is what that means at 2 in the morning. The hour when this kind of thing actually visits you. If the one bet wobbles, a layoff, a cut, an industry that moves on faster than you can keep up, there is no second position to catch you. The whole portfolio is one name, and the name is yours. Now watch two people standing in the same room. The first is our engineer from the open, $24,000 a month. All of it pulled straight from his own two hands. He owns one asset, himself. The second never once cleared 6 figures from a job. But over 20 years, she bought small, boring things and paid them off. Today she owns a handful of rental units. Free and clear. And they send her $9,000 a month. She could stay in bed tomorrow. And the week after. And the rent still lands. Her money shows up whether she does or not. Look at them. The engineer out-earns her 3 to 1. And he is the poorer of the two. Because the question was never who makes more. The question is whose money keeps moving when they stop. The wealthy don't out-earn you. They out-own you. Even at the top this holds. The genuinely wealthy barely live on salary at all. Their money comes from things they own. The paycheck is what they pay everyone else. The asset is what they keep. So measure it. Right now. On your own life. I call this the sleep test. And it's the most honest number you'll run all year. It is one question. If you stopped working tomorrow, how much money would still arrive next month on its own? Not savings you would burn through. Money that shows up because you own something that pays you. Rent. A dividend. A business that runs without your hands on it. Add up every dollar that keeps coming. Then divide it by what you spend in a month. If that number lands above 1, you're free. The things you own cover your life without you. If it lands below 1, and for almost every high earner I have ever measured, it lands at 0. Then you are not the owner of your wealth. You are the wealth. You're the asset being worked. There's no shame in the number. Most people have never been told it exists. But you can't change a number you refuse to look at. So look at it. And if you've got the nerve, drop your sleep test number in the comments. Just the number. I promise you. The count of zeros under this video will tell a story louder than anything I can say. And here is the cruelest part of the machine. The raise itself is what locks you in tighter. Watch how it works. The money goes up. So the cost of simply being you goes up to meet it. Picture a line on a ledger, the amount you have to clear every month, just to stay exactly where you are. Every raise lifts that line right along with the income. Nothing about it feels reckless. Each step is normal. Even earned. But the line keeps climbing. So you never actually get ahead. You just owe a bigger number to hold your ground. The climb itself becomes a second job you can never quit. So the higher the salary climbs, the more completely your whole existence depends on that one asset continuing to perform. You didn't escape the trap. You renovated it. A raise doesn't make you rich. It just raises the rent on yourself. Reason 2? Your asset is illiquid. You can't sell it. And you can't get it back. Think of a surgeon. Her skill might be worth millions over a career. But there is no buyer she can sell it to in one piece and walk away. She can only rent it out. One operation at a time. For as long as her hands and her license hold, a building, a share of stock, a stake in a business. Those she could sell tomorrow and keep the value. Her earning power, the most valuable thing she owns, is the one asset with no exit door. You are standing in the same spot. You can rent your hours. You can never cash them out. Reason 3. And it's the one nobody wants to picture. Your asset is terminal. It runs down to nothing the day you stop. Watch it reach the engineer. At 55, his trade shifts faster than he can keep up with. And a younger man will do the same work for less. The skill that paid $24,000 a month starts paying half that. Then a fraction. Then nothing. Call it what it is. The asset depreciates. On a schedule you never set. And the schedule runs out. Usually somewhere around 65. Whether you have built a replacement or not, Stack the three together, one asset. Everything riding on it. Impossible to sell. With a built-in expiry date. That is the most fragile structure a working life can stand on. There is exactly one move that reverses it. But before I hand it to you, catch yourself in the one sign that gives the whole thing away. You've said the most expensive sentence in personal finance. Once I'm earning a bit more, then I'll start investing. Here is the arithmetic hiding in that sentence. Every year you wait is not a neutral year. It's a year of compounding you can never buy back. Money put to work in your 30s works for decades. The same money found in your 50s barely gets started. That's why the typical American household, after a lifetime of earning, holds a net worth somewhere around $192,000. Not because they never earned, because almost no one ever converted. The income came in, the life ate it, and nothing moved to the owning side of the page. Now run the clock forward. Because this ends somewhere exact. And the date is already on the calendar. And here is the part that's genuinely not your fault. 2 generations ago, your employer did this conversion for you. It was called a pension. A machine in the background that turned your working years into something you would own at the end. That machine was quietly dismantled and handed back to you. Into accounts you now have to fund and steer yourself. Nobody our engineer ever worked for handed him one. And nobody sat him down and taught him the new job. So the trap isn't a character flaw. It's a job that got moved onto your desk without the instructions. But that's the cold part too. No one is going to move it back. No raise does it. No employer does it. The only name on this ledger is yours. The date on the calendar is the day the one asset runs to zero. Somewhere around 65. If nothing was built beside it, the income doesn't slow down that day. It stops. The compounding years you let pass don't come back. That's the bill. And it lands all at once. At the worst possible time to get it. Now the move. The whole thing comes down to one shift. And it's smaller than you'd think. Build a second asset. Something you own that is not you. The rule is one line before the lifestyle gets a vote. The first slice of every dollar you earn goes to buying something that pays you back. Not a scheme. Not a hot tip. And I'm not here to sell you either. The plainest place almost anyone starts is a broad slice of the market that quietly pays dividends back to you. A small property works. A piece of a business that runs without your hands works. The form can vary. The rule cannot. It has to be something that keeps paying after you stop. Picture the first time it happens. Not a fortune. A small thing. One quiet morning. A single payment lands in an account you barely watch. $40. Maybe $60. It came from the slice of the market you bought 8 months ago. Or the room down the hall you finally rented out. And here's what matters. You did nothing the day it arrived. You were asleep. Or you were back at the desk earning the old way. And a second stream of money showed up anyway. With no hand on it. $40 is not freedom. But it is the first brick of an asset that does not get laid off. Does not depreciate. And does not retire the day you do. And there's a moment on this path with a strange kind of gravity. The day the money your second asset throws off is bigger than the money you feed into it. On that day, something you own has started paying the rent on a copy of you. The asset works the hours now. You don't have to. That's what owning actually buys. Not a bigger number on a paycheck. Your own time. Handed back to you. Run the 2 paths out 30 years. Path 1. The engineer keeps earning $24,000 a month and converts none of it. At 65, he owns the same one asset he started with. Fully run down. And a retirement that leans on a pile of cash draining towards zero. Path 2. Same income. But every month a piece gets moved to the owning side of the page. At 65, he doesn't stop earning. Because the asset he built never clocks out. Same paycheck the whole way. 2 completely different endings. The only variable was which side of the page the money landed on. Go back to that engineer one more time. The man who couldn't survive a month without his hands on the work? Picture him running the sleep test for the first time. The number comes back below 1. And for a second it lands like a verdict. But it isn't one. It's a starting line. Because the test that just told him he is the asset is the same test that will tell him, years from now, the exact day he finally owns one. So here is the only question that was ever worth asking. And I want your answer in the comments under this video. Run your sleep test. Is your number above 1 yet? Or is it still sitting at 0? Just drop it below. The count of ones and zeros under here is going to be the most honest map of our whole generation you will ever see. Wealth isn't a bigger salary. It's the day something you own pays you while you sleep. The day you stop renting yourself out.